Hi, I'm Eve. I was born in a small, beautiful town in Italy. My dad was a writer. His novels weren't selling well, and we were struggling financially for as long as I can remember. Mom and Dad constantly fought like cats and dogs because of that. "You're a loser! I'll get old before you start providing for us properly." Eventually, they divorced, and I stayed with Mom. She soon remarried, and I got a stepfather and a stepsister called Leah. "You're so pretty!" "You too." I was joking. You're ugly. Don't you dare touch my toys. When our parents were around, Leah acted like an angel, but when they weren't, she turned into a little devil. I missed my dad and often thought about the times we used to come up with stories together. One day, Mom saw me writing a story. She immediately snatched away my notebook, tore out the page I was writing on, and ripped it to shreds. "Do you want to be a loser like your father?" Unlike Dad, my stepfather was a successful businessman and made good money. One day, I was walking past the living room and I heard him talking to Mom. "I'm dying to eat some lasagna." "I'm not good at cooking. Let's order takeout." I decided to do something nice for them. So I broke my piggy bank, went to a cafe, and bought a lasagna. But when I got home, everyone was already eating dinner. "Leah, you're a treasure." Unlike Eve, that brat is useless. Gutted, I threw the lasagna I bought in the trash. A few years later, I won a school contest. I was looking forward to showing my parents my gold medal, but Leah won a singing competition that same day. The girl has real talent. Leah was the center of attention again, and I cried myself to sleep. The older we got, the more I felt like I was invisible. I did everything I could think of to get noticed, but Leah was always one step ahead of me. Even boys only ever paid attention to her. Whenever I had a crush on someone, they lost all interest in me as soon as they saw Leah. "Wait, let me be your servant!" I came to the embankment almost every evening. I would sit on the terrace of a cozy cafe, order tiramisu, my favorite, and write. That's right, I never fell out of love with writing. I guess I just wanted to escape from the boring reality. One day, I was typing away on my laptop as usual when a guy sat down at my table. He was absolutely gorgeous. "Hi, I've seen you around a lot. Are you writing something?" I turned red as a lobster and quickly slammed my laptop shut. "Oh, it's nothing. You seem special to me, though. I'm Robert, by the way." I felt like I was seeing a wonderful dream. Before I knew it, I got over my shyness and was talking to Robert like we'd known each other for ages. Then he decided to walk me home. When we arrived, Leah was there. That's it. Robert would forget about me and start flirting with her now. "Eve, have you finally found a boyfriend?" "Oh wait, of course not. He's too good for you." "Eve is too good for me." "What? Had I heard that right?" Leah snorted and I felt like I was floating on air. Once in my room, I felt a huge surge of inspiration. So I picked up my laptop and started a new story. I'll make Robert the prototype of my main character. I couldn't wait to see him the next day. Deep down, I was afraid our first meeting had been our last. However, when I came back to the cafe, he was already waiting for me there. We walked along the embankment and listened to the street musicians. Robert told me that he had worked as a model for a fashion magazine. I finally admitted that I wrote stories and dreamed of becoming a professional writer. Our meeting yesterday inspired me so much, I made you the prototype of my new main character. Oops! Had I said that out loud? That's so cool. No one has ever done something like that for me before. A couple of days after that, Robert brought me to his work. The magazine's office was huge. Photographers, models, and editors worked in different parts of the building. I watched Robert pose and couldn't help but admire him. When I got home, I heard loud screams and the sound of breaking dishes coming from the living room. "How could you do that? We're neck deep in debts now!" It turned out my stepfather got himself in a mess. Soon he was arrested and all our property was confiscated to pay off his debts. It came as a bolt from the blue. Mom, Leah, and I had to look for a new place to live. We rented a small house on the outskirts of the city. It looked like it would fall apart at any moment. We spent practically all our money on rent. The refrigerator was always empty and we ate ready-made cheap meals. But one day, Leah came home looking like the cat that got the cream and put a stack of bills on the table. "I got a job at a good restaurant. I'm going to sing there in the evenings." "Oh, you brilliant girl." "Eve, take a cue from your sister. Why don't you find a job too?" Mom's reproaches stung. I wanted to prove that I wasn't worse than Leah. The next day, I told Robert about my problems when I saw him. "The magazine I'm working for is looking for an article writer." I doubted they would hire me, but decided to give it a try. We were about to head to the magazine's office again when a girl came up to us. For some reason, her face seemed very familiar to me. "Robert! Fancy meeting you here! And this is..." "It's Eve." "Poor thing. It must be hard, living with such a face." That's when it hit me. It was Rachel, a famous YouTuber. She seemed very cute in her videos, but was a total witch in real life. Robert, baby, our breakup was a mistake. Let's start over. Hold on a second. She was his ex? To my surprise, Robert took my hand. We're not getting back together. I have a new life and there's no place for you in it. Robert's touch gave me goosebumps. My heart was pounding so hard I thought everyone could hear it. We left and Robert told me he really did used to go out with Rachel. Her father is a rich businessman. Rachel is spoiled and used to getting everything she wants. We held hands all the way to the publishing house. It was so exciting I forgot all about Rachel, but when we walked inside, my stomach was in knots. Robert introduced me to the editor-in-chief, and I showed him my works. I bit my lip nervously and dug my nails into my palms. What was I even doing there? There was no way they would hire me. Of course, you don't have much experience, but you're clearly talented. We'll hire you on a trial basis. What the what? Were my ears deceiving me? I wanted to jump for joy. I went back into the hallway and couldn't help but pull Robert into a tight hug. When he hugged me back, I came to my senses, turned red as a tomato, and immediately pulled away. When I told Mom I found a job, she pursed her lips and glared at me. You could have found a better one. Who needs your stupid texts? It was so unfair I almost burst into tears on the spot. I wanted to tell her that working for a fashion magazine was prestigious, but in the end, I just choked on my words. I worked remotely and wrote texts in my favorite cafe. Robert and I became an item, but Rachel wouldn't leave us alone. She would corner us by the cinema entrance, in shopping malls, or just in the city. I bought you the latest iPhone. Do you like my gift? Let's go on a date. I don't want anything from you, and I'm not single, as you well know. One day, when I was working in the cafe, Rachel suddenly sat down opposite me. Break up with Robert while I'm asking nicely. You're not right for him. He should be the one to decide that. Honey, I always get what I want. Remember that. I hoped Rachel would back off, but one day, she crossed a line. That day, I came home and saw Rachel in our living room. She was drinking tea with Mom and Leah. Eve, why are you just standing there? Come on in and meet Rachel. I didn't move and looked at their strange company in disbelief. What are you doing here? How rude. I have an amazing offer for you. Amazing wasn't the word I would use to describe it. She promised to promote Leah on her blog if I dumped Robert. This is a great opportunity. Leah will become even more popular and will earn a ton of money. I can't do that to Robert. You should think about your family. Robert is just your first boyfriend. There will be others. I'm not leaving him, period. Get out, Rachel. You'll regret this. After Rachel left, Mom went ballistic and stopped talking to me. Leah didn't say anything and just went to her room. The next day, Rachel posted a video in which she made fun of Leah and her singing skills. The video got a lot of views. In the evening, Leah came home angry and miserable. I was fired! I was sure I had done the right thing, but for some reason, I still felt guilty. My family ignored me after that. Mom even set the table only for herself and Leah. I tried not to let it get to me, but I still felt gutted. Soon, I came to the publishing house to discuss the new article with the editor. I was walking up the stairs when I saw Rachel and Robert in the hallway. They were kissing! I felt like I had been hit over the head by something heavy. Eve? Rachel smiled smugly when she saw me. My father bought this magazine this morning. You're fired! Rachel called the security guards over and they grabbed me by the arms. I was so shocked I didn't even resist. It was the most humiliating moment of my life. Robert looked at me with eyes full of regret but didn't even try to stand up for me. When Mom found out I'd been fired, she started talking to me again. I wished she'd stay silent. I told you nobody needs your stupid texts. You're a loser just like your father. At that moment, I finally snapped. And you're so used to other people providing for you, you can't do anything now that you're alone. Without giving her a chance to answer, I ran outside, slamming the door on my way out. I decided to rewrite my story. I poured everything I was feeling into it. Robert turned from the main character into a scary villain, and then I saw an ad for a literary contest pop up on the screen. A famous publishing house was looking for participants. The winner stories would be published with the works of several famous authors. I didn't think I stood a chance, but sent them my story anyway. After leaving the cafe, I suddenly ran into Leah. She gave me a weird look. Go ahead, tell me I'm a loser again. Actually, I came here to cheer you on. You're right about Mom. She can't do anything by herself, and I'm glad you finally stood up for yourself. Even Robert kissing Rachel hadn't shocked me as much as Leah's words. She asked me if I wanted to hang out with her. And you know what? It was fun! At first, we went for a walk and ate delicious gelato. Then Leah bought us tickets and we went on a boat trip. In the evening, we came to a beach party. Soon, a band arrived. I noticed that Leah was quietly singing along and immediately got an idea. Sing with them! At first, Leah refused, but I convinced her to try. She talked to the lead singer and they sang a popular song together. The band liked Leah's voice so much, they asked if she wanted to record a couple songs with them. You're awesome! Together, we'll become freaking popular. Leah gave it some thought and agreed. Soon, they really did become famous. Huge crowds came to their concerts. I used to envy my successful sister, but now I was just happy for her. One day, I was walking along the embankment when I got a call from an unknown number. It was the editor of the publishing house I'd sent my story to. Congratulations! You won the first place. I was so shocked I dropped my phone. It fell and broke, but I didn't care. My story was going to be published. It was the best day of my life! When the book was released, I was all but shaking as I read the reviews. Everyone liked my story. They especially praised the villain, who ended up being a very vivid character. It was no wonder. Soon, I signed a contract with the publishing house and started writing new stories. After a while, I found out Rachel's father had gone bankrupt, and Rachel lost all her subscribers. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't happy. Maybe it was terrible of me, but I gloated and was on cloud 9. Robert waited for me outside my house that same day. I'm sorry for what I did. Rachel said she would fire me if I didn't go out with her. My younger sister is sick. She needs money for surgery. I can't afford to lose my job. But now, the magazine has a new owner, and we can be together again. No! You could have told me everything from the beginning, but now it's too late. I was hurt and didn't want to see Robert, but that evening I googled his sister. There was a charity account gathering money for her surgery. I donated some of my savings and hoped the girl would recover. I soon became a very popular author. It might be hard to believe, but I even wrote some scripts for the private diary channel. Mom warmed up to me when I got a raise, but I knew all she cared about was my success and not me. Leah turned 18, moved out, and went on tour with her band. That pissed Mom off. But my sister and I kept in touch. One day, I was coming home after a walk when I saw a beautiful car by our house. When I walked in, I heard a vaguely familiar voice coming from the living room. My heart skipped a beat and immediately started to race. You can't forbid me from talking to my own daughter anymore. Dad? When our eyes met, Dad froze, and then he pulled me into a tight hug. We went outside and he told me about his life. When your mother and I divorced, I was very ashamed of myself. I wanted to achieve something so that you could be proud of me, sweetie. I sent you gifts and money every month, but it turned out your mother took everything for herself. I was hardly even surprised when I heard that. Still, it was a shame. All that time, Mom had forbidden me from seeing Dad. I didn't even have his phone number. I got a break recently. I've been writing a novel for the past few years. An American director liked it, and they're filming a movie based on it in Hollywood right now. Can you imagine? Dad got rich and became successful, but I didn't care. I was just glad he was there. I'm glad you followed in my footsteps. Dad suggested I move in with him and live in Los Angeles. I agreed without thinking twice about it. Of course, Mom immediately lost it. Ungrateful! I raised you and you're leaving me so easily! I have a life of my own, Mom. A new life began for me in Los Angeles. I gained experience, took writing courses, and talked to a lot of cool people. One day, I saw Robert at a party. It turned out he became a successful model and also moved to work in Los Angeles. There were rumors Robert had paid for his sister's surgery and she had recovered. From that moment on, I couldn't get him out of my head. I was mad at myself, but couldn't help pining for him. One day, I went to Italy and came back to my favorite cafe. Can I treat you to tiramisu? I looked up and saw Robert sitting across from me. Even the main characters make mistakes sometimes. Please let me prove I'm not the villain you think I am. Robert looked into my eyes and my heart skipped a beat. Do you think he deserves a second chance?